They say that it's easy to point out faults and hard to give genuine praise. Well, that depends on your point of view and established norms. After all, there are people that think that cancer for gaming industry is good, and those people are usually what we call console peasants. But enough on that. Though I am very critical on most things, it does not mean that I ignore good parts. It's just that bad things are more obvious and they're easier to make. Still, there's a lot we can learn from every success, so I wanted to highlight some things that Planetside had done right. And to help me do that, I got a Valkyrie addict and a spaghetti for arms, so-called machinima director. Cause you know, we're all certainly qualified to talk about this. Speaking of which, take it away, peons.
Right. So, one thing I believe that's a positive feature of Planetside is that the battles are persistent. Within a MMO, this is a common thing, but not so with first-person shooters. You can log off with your faction losing, then log back on to find your faction winning. One continent can have a completely different territory situation from another, and I think it's this feature that has really defined Planetside. It helps make unscripted battles, lets you see new bases each day, and eliminates a lot of the repetitive feel that matchmaking games often have. It helps contribute to the game feeling like a true war.
Another thing to mention are the great unscripted visuals that are uncommon in many games. You can have glorious light shows suddenly which transition to silently watching a sunrise across a stunning vista. The variety in landscapes and biomes rivals many games which only support a few styles. Due to the high amount of effects in the game, it's easy to see the impacts of war. Finally, Planetside 2 allows thousands of soldiers to fight each other. It is truly awesome to see a bunch of tanks blow up a line of surprise Sunderers. All of these visuals are often not shown together in other games. Moreover, these visuals make you truly feel like you're just one soldier in a global war.
As for myself, I have stated this several times whenever I talk about good parts of the game. The player count. The last I checked, on one server you could have 6,000 players and on one continent about 1,000 players. Sure, when servers would go full, the server running hamsters would be dying from heart failure and exhaustion, but it is possible to have 1,000 plus players online in one map. See, before I played Planetside, I stuck to Counter-Strike and games alike that had maybe 64 players on one server at maximum, and I always dreamed to play, or maybe one day even make a game that could have more players on one map. Lo and behold, in 2012, such game came out, and better yet, it was free to play. Frankly, it felt like dream come true. Sure, the performance was in total shitter, but at least console-grade cinematic gameplay I could have. I never understood why didn't Planetside advertise this fact more. For me, player count is the biggest selling point of all. And this reminds me, back in the day we actually set a world record in this game. The most players playing in one map simultaneously. The fact that this world record is just sitting in a corner somewhere collecting dust just makes me sad. It's a unique achievement that should be our pride and joy, but we barely ever talk about it. Say what you will, but Planetside changed me a lot. Fuck, if you want to experience this change in a small scale, just check out my older videos on the game. You'll see and certainly hear it.
Another point, which I think isn't as touched upon as many of the other features, is that the grind of Planetside actually feels good. The common problem with grinds is that after a while you get bored, mostly because everything feels repetitive. In MMOs, you farm a specific enemy in order to get a drop or gain XP, and all of them are AIs. With Planetside's grind, you aren't farming an AI, you're up against real people from all over the world. Those people have different thought processes, and while some may follow the herd, i.e. Zergs, you always have to watch your back for that one guy who decided to flank or take a different route altogether. It makes the grind process a lot more randomized, and with the possibility of going up against 6,000 different players, the grind is randomized to the max. No battle, no 1v1, no specific moment is quite the same as a previous experience, and that's why I find it hard to play games other than Planetside.
A great thing about Planetside 2 is that it provides so many options. You can be a pilot, tank driver, soldier, or a leader all within the span of an hour. Planetside 2 also fosters an active outfit scene that truly helps add some depth to the game. These outfits can range from competitive to casual, which truly helps add a sense of brotherhood not found alongside mute soldiers. Moreover, Planetside 2 provides so many cosmetics and variety that it's an excellent tool for making awe-inspiring cinematics and impressive machinimas. I'd go as far as saying you can create content that rivals Halo's.
The thing that differentiates Planetside from most games is the 3-faction system. Well, yes, we are talking about the things that Planetside did right, yet factions might not be the best example. Still, lore and visual-wise, for me, this is one of those things. See, I tend to take in account the potential of a thing when judging its merit, and having 3 factions different from each other can open some doors to great possibilities. I like to fantasize sometimes how each faction could do things slightly differently, offering different experience when playing other factions, to an extent. Much like in StarCraft, if you really want to start pointing fingers. Yeah, some dipshits at this point will start yelling about 4th faction and showcasing their non-existent intellect, but fuck them. In early days, there was this faction war event, and players roleplayed for their factions, making the whole atmosphere pulsate with some amazing vibes. I still remember some great platoons led by charismatic leaders telling us to annihilate, obliterate, and desecrate our enemies in the name of the skin-tight nanosuit gods. Though this is a positive video, I would not be me if I didn't look at the flip side of the coin. Now, what we got today are a bunch of worn out and tired vets just going through the motions. Platoons are stale and lifeless most of the time, and that's partly because there's just no lore or other source of inspiration for people to roleplay anymore. And what's worse, with the constant piss stream coming from devs in form of nanite systems, weapons make all the factions slowly blend together, like some freak Siamese triplet.
I believe that if the devs focused on improving what currently works within the system, and make these portions more well known and supported, they will have greater success in the future. Moreover, they need to beef up their advertising game, so that more people know about the game and that it's still fresh and enjoyable.
Each game has its strength, and Planetside has always been the open world and massive scale battles. When we talk about presentation, advertising and such, these should be the flagship features to put forth, while factions and their differences could add depth to the game. Unfortunately, in past, I've seen this rarely.